clock in every day, there's always that chance that something can happen. You don't know when, where, or how, but accidents are inevitable. As a business owner, you don't want to be left holding the bag whether something happens to an employee or customer. General liability insurance covers everything from a slip or fall all the way down to a paper cut. At Northwest Insurance Agency, we will get you any necessary coverage that pertains to your field. So get covered under the sombrero by calling 855-88-75656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody. 1, 2, 3, let we go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the After Stangs Show. I am Billy Embody. With me, Dean Rolski. You can come on. Yeah, you're good. You're totally good. Fine. We're right in the way. A lot of things going on here at Memorial Stadium as SMU comes out with a 35-24 win over Clemson. Dean Rolski, Billy Embody, Jonathan McGill. In probably about 15 minutes, we'll hear from Rhett Lashley, and then we'll close things out with Jonathan McGill as this one wrapped up for SMU with emphatic finish. I mean, this was the game that they needed. This was the game that if they lost it, it was really just kind of that backs against the wall for the season felt like. And man, SMU came out and weathered the storm and then pulled away and never relinquished the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first question I asked Coach Lashley today was, we always talk about the offense starting fast. Can they go down and get on the board first, go get a touchdown, and give the defense some confidence? Today it was the opposite, but it worked out just as well. The defense really stuffed, because Villasana in the run game and limited their receivers. I mean, Brian Wesco had that drop. And so the defense set the tone for the rest of the game and allowed the offense to grow into this game and eventually, like you said, seal it off with a nice touchdown.
Christopher Villasana gets the start in place of Cade Klubnik, who snaps his 34-game starting streak for Clemson. And he had a good day. I mean, 317 yards passing. That's kind of what you're going to get from this SMU secondary. But it really felt like, they had the big explosives, which we've seen SMU give up at times. But they also really played with some physicality. They were able to make some stops. There were some scores that were absolutely kind of mind-boggling. If you're an SMU fan watching that game and you're thinking, okay, Clemson's just eventually going to maybe get out in front of this one and find a way and snap their streak of losses to Power 4 teams here in Death Valley, and that didn't happen. SMU kept coming back. They kept piecing together drives. I think obviously we talked a lot about Sam Beltner's day.
Absolutely.
Huge day for him in the field goal unit, being able to knock down kicks of 51, 48, 48.
Yep.
Obviously he had the missed extra point after the touchdown, but he was cramping. So he got a lot of work in today, and it was humid out there, but just a total team effort, a team win that I think really exemplifies what this team is becoming as the Mustangs pull away there in their buses to head back to Dallas right now. They just have found this toughness to them, and it really showed up today here at Clemson.
It was truly incredible. I mean, we talk about the complementary football that this team hadn't played a ton this year, but they played it almost for a full 60 minutes today. I mean, you talk about that first quarter when the offense isn't rolling. That defense continues to get stops, forces a turnover, 3 and outs, whatever they needed to do to get the job done. And then, SMU takes the lead, but when Clemson responds, SMU either got a field goal or got a touchdown. I want to say every single time Clemson scored. And so it was truly a case of complementary football where the defense stepped up and the offense stepped up in certain moments and combined together for a great team win.
Yeah, that 10-7 lead that SMU had off of the TJ Moore 32-yard touchdown. SMU responded with field goal, and then was able to get that last one before the half too, which I thought was important to go up 16-7. SMU finished the end of the first half really well, and then they were able to go out in the fourth quarter and they score the touchdown with 1:03 left. Chris Johnson powers through the 6-yard touchdown, obviously set up by Ymir Knights, third down, great route that drew the pass interference. Jordan Hudson with a key grab. And, they were just able to find ways to make plays down the stretch. And Chris Johnson puts the game on ice with his touchdown from 6 yards out. That was in response to that Clemson touchdown that, cut the score to 29-24 with 6:44 to play, and you're thinking, okay, this is the drive that SMU has to have, or this game is going to get dicey. It wasn't that SMU was going to lose and all these things, but we felt like they had to have a drive there, and they did. And this was a Kevin Jennings legacy type of game. Him playing through the injury early on. What was it, the first drive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just at the end of that first drive, he finishes 23 of 43 for 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. Only got sacked once, which, considering his mobility issue, once they had that injury, really impressive. The interception, ball was behind Jordan Hudson. Clemson's Johnny on the spot, but SMU split the turnover battle, 1-1. That was really important. And I just think the team fed off of Kevin. They fed off of the defense. It felt a lot like last year because they got up and were able to play from ahead.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and you mentioned the stat with 1 sack. Credit to the offensive line. I mean, it would have been obvious because of the way Kevin was hurting if the offensive line had a poor game, and Coach Lashley mentioned it. There are 3 NFL draft picks on that defensive line. No matter how well they're playing as a team right now, those guys have talent and they will come after you. And so the offensive line did a great job protecting Kevin Jennings and then also creating holes really when SMU needed the run game. It wasn't super consistent, but in those big moments, they came up with the holes for the running backs to run into.
Don't forget, Sunday, it's all day, brunch or dinner. Go to Mignon in Plano. SMU offensive lineman Nick Natur and his family are treating Mustang fans who mentioned on the Pony Express to free dessert. So head up to Mignon, up in Preston, on Preston Road in there in Plano, and have brunch, make your reservation on Open Table, or dinner, make a reservation on Open Table. And of course, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, Dean, but one of our dozens of fans, as we all like to say, said, hey, for every touchdown SMU scores, I'm going to have a shot of Socorro Tequila. So also look at Socorro Tequila. First couple weeks on the job as a partner with us here at On the Pony Express, people are buying in right away. Make sure you grab your bottle of Socorro, or just at your next restaurant or bar, ask for it. It's incredibly clean, and some Socorro was drank as SMU was able to put a few touchdowns on the board today. I think for me, this game is so important for a number of reasons.
So many.
You see the parity in the ACC. You see Miami go down Friday night. You see Louisville now looming on that SMU schedule in a few weeks as the final home game for the Mustangs. But Georgia Tech takes care of business. Duke now falls. I don't know what Virginia's going on, happening right now.
I think they've got an out-of-conference game.
Okay, that's right, Washington State. So all good there with the Who's, but SMU was really able to kind of avoid what would have been a tough loss. And then I think for the ACC, at this point, they need SMU to win this game to keep their conference title hopes alive, because Clemson's in a tough spot when it comes to any sort of playoff hope. So they get this win. I think this is a huge confidence booster for this team, and they can ride it to more momentum. And look, we can talk a little bit more. We will after the break when we go to Rhett Lashley here in just a second, but do want to remind you guys as well to check out our friends at Status Jet and Thomas Auto Group. We appreciate their support of the On the Pony Express podcast. And without any further ado, we'll go to Rhett Lashley here as he's talking with the media. First couple minutes for you guys on the After Stangs Show while this truck's getting out of here.
All right, well, obviously a huge win for us. Anytime you win on the road in conference, it's a big deal. To win on the road at Clemson, huge deal. I think that's 8 losses in a little over a decade, so they don't lose here often. Really proud of our guys. I thought our defense played really well throughout, particularly in the first half. I mean, stop after stop, they kept giving us short field, and we were settling for field goals. And then obviously in the second half, first couple drives, we weren't great on offense until we finally broke through and scored a couple drives. And then, when we really needed it, with 6:44 to go, the offense put together probably the best drive of the year. When we really needed it, they had all the momentum. The crowd was into it. We didn't really need to give them the ball back, down only up 5. And I can't say enough, our quarterback's a stud. I mean, we've known it for 2.5 years. I think America kind of knows it, but for whatever reason, they've not wanted to act like it. He's a stud. He's as good as anybody out there, and he'll just keep proving everybody that that's the case. But excited to get a win. Dabo's, I look up to him. I appreciate the example he is for coaches like myself, what he's built here. And so I know tough for them, but it's a big win for us.
How emotional was it watching Kevin battle through what he battled through today, injury-wise, and just everything?
It wasn't emotional in the moment because you're in the moment. I wasn't surprised. He was hobbled pretty good in the first quarter, and I was kind of worried. Like, I didn't know if he was going to come back, really. And the next drive, sure enough, first play he rolls. He can't even roll right and sticks his foot in the ground, throws a touchdown 70 yards to Jordan Hudson. And I go, he can't move, and Derek Kings, but he can make that throw, So, and it got to where he could run straight ahead. He just couldn't go side to side. So that's why you saw him run downhill a little bit. We had to run him a little more than normal. And he didn't care. He didn't once say, hey, my ankle. He said, yeah, run me. Let's go. Let's win. And he just kept making big plays. Guys, the play he made to Matt Hibner for that touchdown, when they all out blitzed 7 people and we only had 5 to block them, it's as good of a throw and a catch as you'll see at any level of football in any situation. And then obviously the last drive, he just kept making play after play after play to put the game away for us, and everybody around him did a great job.
Coach, normally you're talking about the offense starting fast, but it seems like today the defense started fast and helped the offense out. What can you say about their performance?
They did. I mean, we stopped the run. 30 rushes for 35 for them, 28 for 139 for us. I mean, that's a really good defense, guys. I mean, it was hard to run. We were able to get some explosive plays on the perimeter. We had to stay patient, and the defense allowed us to because we never got behind. And I know we had the tip late, but for the most, we didn't turn the ball over. Like, we were able to play that way, and then, of course, the big play to Jordan kind of, I think, loosened everybody up. And our defense just kept getting stop after stop, and it allowed us offensively, even when it looked a little herky-jerky, we were able to play good team football. Obviously we want to do a little better at times in the second half on some drives, and we don't want to give up a 4th and 21. But we played pretty good team ball today, and I think that's why we got the win.
Coach, how special was it to beat Clemson after what was kind of a heartbreaking loss in the ACC title game?
Revenge wasn't a big deal to me. I mean, I know Kevin kind of said that at one time, but our guys, look, they're competitive. If it would have gone the other way, Clemson would have wanted to beat us. It's a big win because we're 3-0 in the league now, and we beat the team who's won 8 out of the last 10 times in this league at their home place, and it doesn't matter how or why we did it, and that's a big step for our program. Last year the game was a great game. I mean, we felt like the first quarter we dug a hole and really gifted them some things, and in the last 3 quarters we felt like we played really well, and we just came up short. This year we did a good job of not digging that hole, and I think that's why we were able to finish the job.
With Villasana at quarterback instead of Klubnik, did that change the way your defense attacked this?
I mean, a little, but because Cade's more of a runner. But I thought the kid did a good job for Clemson. I mean, he had the 1 sack earlier that was a fumble, but he didn't get him beat. He gave him chances. The 2 throws he made for touchdowns on the double move and the play action throwback were really good. He showed great poise. I can see why. I mean, you're not the number 2 quarterback at Clemson if you don't have something to you. And obviously, I know Cade. I hope he gets healthy for him because he's a great kid. But I think other than maybe some of the Q run game, but you see they still ran him. So it kind of looked like the same offense we prepared for, obviously just with a less experienced guy back there.
Talk about starting fast, your revenge spot. How do you focus the team on playing passionate?
Yep.
Maybe less so on the emotional side. You came out.
Yeah, we talked about 2 things. We didn't over talk about needing to start fast because sometimes if you do that, you make guys kind of. So we didn't talk about it to them, but as a staff, we knew it was going to be a lot easier if we started faster, right? Like, you don't have to, but so getting up 7-0 and 13-7 and 16-7, like that was a big deal. Just because we were able to play complementary football with a lead instead of like last year coming from behind. All we talked about all week was believe. Just believe. Believe in yourself. Believe in each other, the guys around you. I mean this the right way. Believe you're the better team. Believe you're the better team. There's so many powerful things you can do if you believe, but you got to believe it first. And it can't just be something you kind of like. You got to believe it. And I think the way our guys played, they believed it, and I think that helped.
Kevin said this week that he felt like he was ready for the environment of playing in a place like this. It's probably the biggest environment you've had since Penn State.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you've seen him develop in that sense in just like 7 or so games?
Well, you go back to last year, and we played at Penn State, and we didn't play very well. But every step in this process for Kevin and for our program is growth. And now here we are in this stage with this environment, and when it got to 29-24 and they're turning the lights out on us and the place is going crazy, like you didn't see guys shrink in the moment. You saw them step to the moment, and that's because they've been there before. And so the old saying, act like you've been there before. I said it last year, you can't do it till you've done it. Well, last year we've been there, both the championship game and the playoff game, and that prepared us, especially Kevin, for today. And yeah, he didn't flinch, he didn't blink. As a matter of fact, he shined.
You talked about stepping up in the moment. Sam Keltner had those big kicks early.
Man.
What were those decisions like when you see him make that first one? How easy it was to just roll him out there?
Hey, you got to play with confidence, and we believe it. We got to make sure our guys know we believe in him. Sam has kicked it great every day in practice. We missed some few first couple games. You should have heard the guys chanting his name in the locker room just a minute ago. They were going crazy. But those first 2 kicks, I don't know what they were, 50, 52, like 49. Big kicks. And, I know we missed the extra point after the whatever, but, man, they were huge. They were huge because early on, we were selling for field goals, and they weren't easy ones. And he kept us with the lead and kept the momentum in our favor. And I think that's why we think he's going to be special. And also just as big, he's kicking it out of the end zone every time, and we're not having to cover kicks.
Welcome back to the After Stangs Show. Of course, Rhett Lashley there spending some time with the media. Do want to remind you as well that we are presented by our friends at OPW Solutions. OPW Solutions, a full-service exterior maintenance company in the DFW area, also kind of throughout the surrounding areas, states. Give them a call, 214-444-3305, or email them info@OPW Solutions. They can help you with all your exterior maintenance, landscaping, fence repair, concrete repair, power washing, much, much more. AJ Crow, SMU alum, running the show over there, so we appreciate his support of the After Stangs Show and ontheponyexpress.com. Dean, let's get to some MVPs, and then we'll let everybody go with Jonathan McGill. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Sam Keltner. And for a lot of reasons, it's an obvious pick. He goes 3 for 3 on field goal attempts today, making a 51-yarder and 2 48-yard attempts. And not only were those points on the board, but I think an interesting point, too, is they're all long kicks, which means you were in situations where you could have gone for it. But because he drilled that first 51-yard field goal, it allowed Coach Lashley to make the easy decision of, hey, I've got a kicker who can go make this kick and put points on the board. Let's go do it. And he stepped up.
That end of the game 48-yarder that he had last week against Stanford now looms large, gave him such a confidence boost, I'm sure, just to go out there. This confidence kid, you heard the guys, if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, you'll hear a lot of the SMU players talking up Sam and how they built him up throughout the offseason. Really cool story for him to step into this role for SMU. I'm going to go with Chris Johnson Jr. I think, obviously his run salted it away. There's no doubt about that. I just think he was able to make some explosive plays that really helped the team overall. Had a long 25-yard reception that helped SMU out a lot. You could go with Jordan Hudson, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown. And, of course, you can go with Kevin Jennings. SMU doesn't win this game if he doesn't gut it out and do it at a high level. His turnover came when SMU was playing from ahead. It wasn't a backbreaker. He didn't allow it to snowball into a late game kind of snowball. And so that was really, really big that happened for SMU, where he was able to just be one snap and clear, but most importantly, he was able to be out there. And he gave it his all. I think Kevin Jennings has shown over the last 3 or 4 weeks that he needs more credit. Rhett Lashley talked about it in his post-game show or post-game press conference. He needs more credit nationally. He's played hurt probably the entire year in some regard. I mean, he got dinged up at the Baylor game, but he just is so calm. And if you watch the player interviews after the game, you can see that. So hope you guys enjoyed this After Stangs Show with Dean Rawlsky and myself. Jonathan McGill and myself are going to join you in just a second. I'll get it queued up for you guys, and that'll do it for this After Stangs Show. So we're about to put on our own analyst, Jonathan McGill, and have him break down the game. Got to grab him for a few minutes after the win for SMU, and what a locker room, what a celebration, and shout out the SMU fans that showed up here in Clemson. You could hear them on TV, you could hear them across the way for us in the press box. So a great environment, a huge win, pretty historic in the grand scheme of things for SMU. So a big night here in Clemson, South Carolina, as SMU gets a much-needed win. So without further ado, go to our interview with former SMU defensive back Jonathan McGill to close out this After Stangs Show.
Where's Jonathan?
Welcome back to the After Stangs Show. Appreciate our friends at StatsJet for supporting us.
He's not here anymore.
At ontheponyexpress.com. Of course, we're joined every post-game by Jonathan McGill. And, hey, this was quite the experience here in Memorial Stadium for the Mustangs as they took a lead, never gave it up really, and rolled to a 35-24 win. I mean, it just feels like one of obviously the biggest wins in the Rhett Lashley era, but a game now that you can build even more confidence off of.
Yeah, 100%. I think, the atmosphere was, one of the best in the country, I think, for the players, for the fans. It was just an excellent experience. Clemson was a great job in hosting us. And it was really a memorable game, I would say. Kind of similar a little bit to Louisville last year, right? Going to hostile territory. Momentum's kind of going back and forth. We had the lead majority of the game, similar to now. And I think, Kevin Jennings made plays when he needed to. Jordan Hudson with an amazing game. Derek McFall seems like we're saying his name every single week, who has touchdowns. And then defensively, right? You get off the field when you need to. Was everybody, was tensed up a little bit that 4th and 20. That's not, easy to see. But I think that this team has shown that in times, as of, post-bye week, they've been able to buckle down and really lock in on things when it matters the most.
And speaking of bowing up, that offensive drive, responding, finishing it out with the Chris Johnson Jr. touchdown drive, you see Clemson kind of close the gap, and you're like, okay, is this going to end up kind of like the Baylor game? That was what, you guys were on the field doing your thing. Everybody else was like, oh no. And, little Clemson magic was, starting to kind of get rolling, but the offense really shut the door. What does it say about this team to develop that killer instinct to get across the finish line there?
Yeah, I think it was beautiful to see. Our offense gets the ball with 6 or 7 minutes left, and end up having about a 5-minute drive, 6-minute drive, to where Clemson gets the ball back down, 2 possessions, having to score, and also having the opportunity as our offense to have that killer instinct, have that, we're not going to settle for a field goal. Love seeing Coach Lashley go for it on that 4th down. Yamir Knight with a great route, had to draw the pass interference, and kept that drive going. And so I think that this team, different guys stepped up at different moments. RJ Maryland with a great game, Matthew Hibner with a great one-handed touchdown that responded to the Clemson one-handed touchdown. And, can't say good enough things about Kevin, can't say enough things about this running back room, and really excited to see how this offense has continued to take the next step each and every game, as this was probably the hardest defense that they would have to see so far. Louisville, obviously, watching
you guys were watching that,
watching Louisville yesterday, that's going to be another valuable test, but getting that stamp of, this defense has, 3 to 4, first-round guys, perhaps, and so I think that this gives this team a lot of confidence.
Rolling on the Pony Express After Stangs Show, presented by our friends at the Thomas Auto Group, headed up 75 in McKinney to visit any of their Ford dealerships, Ford, Subaru, Volkswagen, Mitsubishi. Here with Jonathan McGill post-game here in Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. The defense, starting as well as they did, being able to get some pressure. Brandon Maiazono forces a fumble early in the game. That was big. The turnover battle was split. That was really important in the game. The defense allowing Rhett Lashley and the offensive staff to kind of stay patient is something that he brought up. What the defensive mindset going into this one, what was it like kind of before this one, and just what you guys wanted to accomplish going into the game?
Yeah, I think Coach Simons always definitely wants teams to earn it, right? And that's kind of the big motto. Don't give up explosive or big chunk plays, especially in conference games, because these games, it's 1 or 2 possessions that really decide if you win or if you lose, if you're celebrating in the locker room or if you're, frustrated going on the bus, having to fly home. And so really making teams earn it. I think that this defense did a great job. 4th down stops is something that, we've gone accustomed to seeing from this team all the way back. Syracuse, and then Stanford, you have the 4th and goal. Then we have the 96-yard interception. And then today you have, multiple 4th and 1 stops, especially, they bring in, big number 11 to play running back. And, Zay, Brandon, Cam Roberson with a great game. I think he played excellent, and he's starting to really find his stride. And what we're had preseason hype about with Cam and Turbo, we're starting to see that in conference games. And so I'm excited for them, and I'm excited to see what the staff can do.
How much stress does that Clemson wide receiver group put on a defense when you're facing them?
100%. I think this was the most talented receiver unit we've seen, and one of the top in the country, if I'm being completely honest. Antonio Williams and Brian Wesco and TJ Parker, and they have some freshmen that even have opportunity to really make plays. And so their offensive staff did a great job in recruiting those guys. All of those guys are dynamic yards after catch guys, and so it's pretty challenging as a defense to stay on top of those guys and really rally to the football that don't give them that many yards after reception.
Kevin Jennings and what he was able to do battling through the injury again. Some of the plays he's just making these days are just they're kind of you don't know how to even describe what
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing. What does he mean to this football team and just his leadership and how it's emerged and grown?
Yeah, I think he's a huge heartbeat to this team. I think guys get inspired by Kevin. I know defensively we love seeing Kevin running around, making throws that we see in practice, right?
Sure.
That he does to us in practice.
Yeah.
It's great to see him do it to the opponents on game days. He just, is a very athletic, very gifted quarterback, and I think that you see it's clicking in his head about how confident he can be, right? He can, command this offense to do great things. He leads by example, does a great job in, not, losing his cool after negative plays or stalled possessions, but just stays to it, stays with it. And I credit that to Coach King, credit that to Coach Lashley, working with him. And so I'm just very excited to see Kevin. I love him coming into his own, dancing a little bit. I don't know if you saw the TV copy yet, but him and Hibner had a little dance that they did after Hibner scored. And so it's great to see. Huge shout out to those guys.
And lastly, let's close with this. This has got to be a win that is, one, emotional, obviously huge to stay undefeated in ACC play.
Yeah.
How does this team make sure everything doesn't, boil over to next week? How much attention are you guys going to have to face, making sure everybody puts this one behind come Sunday night, really?
Yeah, I think the coaching staff does a great job with that. You get, about 24 hours to celebrate it, right? So you be happy, talk about it on the bus, be happy on the plane. And then once kind of Sunday comes, right, that's when, okay, we have to turn this chapter and focus on Wake Forest, who is a good team as well. I really do like their coach. He's done a great job in coming from Washington State to come into Wake Forest. And so I think that's another challenge, right? It's now 20 straight conference wins that this SMU team and Coach Lashley has done. And so this is, huge credit to him, always having guys prepared and really being able to play at a high level. And so I know they don't want to lose that streak, and I'm not jinxing anything, so don't say I'm jinxing anything. But another great opportunity to see how mature is this football team. And I think that's something we'll see on Saturday as we'll be in Wake Forest. And so I can't wait.
Awesome. For Jonathan McGill, I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for listening to this edition of the After Stangs Show. As always, want to thank our friends at AKM Turf and Greens as well. Go to akmturfandgreens.com for $500 off your project today and revamp your backyard. It's a great time of year to do that with the fall weather kind of coming in. Make sure you have the backyard of your dreams with our friends at AKM Turf and Greens. And of course, appreciate Northwest Insurance Agency for sponsoring us as well. Make sure you give Mark Villasana and his team a call. But for Jonathan McGill, I'm Billy Embody signing off from Clemson, South Carolina, as SMU gets a 35-24 win over the Clemson Tigers, who are falling now to 3-4 on the year, right? 3-4.
3-4.
So,
yes, sir.
And SMU now 5-2 on the year. So, appreciate Jonathan as always for stopping by, and hope you guys enjoy this one out there and have a great time. So, we'll catch you next time on the After Stangs Show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.